the beginning of known time, there was the Essence, a cosmic power unlike anything the universe had or would see again. It's described as being a life force for creation itself, a limitless pool of raw energy that the realms draw on, the fabric of being in which flows through everything. Without this essence, you, I, or even this world wouldn't exist. Over time, this essence would begin to grow and evolve into something far more incredible. As the essence grew and spread throughout the universe, we assume it began to split off, for only from this split of essence could come 10 cosmic beings who could shape the universe and introduce powers to craft destiny into the very realms. Beings who knew not age or hunger, who could see everything from the moment they opened their eyes, and that they were more knowledgeable than our greatest scholars and libraries. Power enough within their fingertips alone to create stars in the sky, but they had the mercy enough to provide food for the smallest creatures of the forests. These beings later became known as, well, the gods. The gods stood above all creation in their own plane of existence where they built their kingdom, watching over the universe and other realms as life began through the power of the essence trickling down into them. In their watch, worlds were formed, creatures of every shape and size being birthed into them, some of flesh and bone and others of pure, arcane energy from realms beyond imagination. Together, they stood in the kingdom closest to the essence and formed the pantheon. It is not told what happened specifically during this time of early creation. The night was a sparse black canvas and the skies were barren with only clouds to greet the flying creatures across the worlds in the material plane. However, as history has taught us, in times of peace, prepare for war. But none, not even the all-powerful gods themselves, could prepare for what was about to come. In the oldest text recorded about the gods, there tells a story of a rift within the pantheon. You see, in their might and mastery of the essence, the pantheon decided to leave their mark on the universe in a way life had not yet seen, to etch their qualities and power within creation itself. And in order to do this, well, they created something. The gods came together and took all of their knowledge of themselves, and they built a race of mortal beings. These beings were made into the likeness and instilled with the values and traits of the gods themselves. Beings of power, intelligence, and emotion just like their creators. Each and everyone possessing the entire pantheon's ideals within themselves. It is untold how many of these beings were created, or what they were called at the time. Alas, we today would call them the Ancients. As time progressed over the new Ancients race, the gods became divided on what to do with them. A choice was to be made. Did the gods elevate them higher into their plane and teach them all there is to know about the essence, essentially creating a new race of lesser gods, or to keep them on the lower planes and watch them grow and hopefully flourish as mortal creatures? Alas, go on not knowing how vast and beautiful the power of the essence really was. This crucial decision was perhaps the most important choice made in all of known history, and gave birth to the good and evil that we know today. This choice introduced devious taints into the gods, such as greed, pride, envy, and lust, and with the birth of these taints came the greatest calamity known to the realms. Upon the gods opening up the discussion, 3 of the gods wanted to raise their creations up, to show them the power and the knowledge of the essence in its purest form, the good and the bad, creation and destruction. Perhaps they saw this new race as the next pantheon of lesser gods to aid in the future of the universe. Why would they not? This ancient race was created to be smaller versions of the gods themselves almost. Why were they not worthy of such knowledge? Despite this reasoning from the 3 other gods, the remaining 7 disagreed with the 3 and declared the race to remain as they were beneath the pantheon. Such a decision would create a rift between the 2 groups forevermore. This union of the 7 against the other 3, as the groups would later become known, was the beginning of a crack within the pantheon's once solid bond. This crack over time would become a celestial struggle as the gods bickered amongst themselves despite the decision being final. However, in secrecy, the 3 decided to reveal the knowledge of the essence to their mortal creations, teaching them mastery of it, how to manipulate it and achieve things like true immortality, which the gods possessed. These teachings were twisted though, warped by feelings of anger and hate towards their fellow gods for the decision against the three, thus instilling their creations with seeds of early corruption. And once the seven learned of this final act of betrayal, a war unlike anything since can even compare to began. The gods fought in their mighty kingdom, cosmic blows thundering across time and space itself in ways incomprehensible to mortal minds, a single punch able to shatter a world. The seven combined their might against the other three, declaring them banished from the godly kingdom. However, the three would not go so quietly. As blows landed and the blood of the gods spurted from mouth, nose and wound, it is said that the night sky became filled with sparkling stars and clouds of cosmic mass. These star-like droplets forever stained the night sky, reminding us all in our darkest moments that choices matter, godly or otherwise. Eons passed, and with each century gone, the once great shining kingdom of the gods fell into ruin. The three gods becoming more hateful and destructive towards their seven brethren, slowly corrupting their pure essence within themselves, twisting their ancient creations below them until only warped imitations of what was once a mighty race remained, consumed by the teachings of their power-hungry and hateful masters. Calamity held for time unimaginable, until finally the seven prevailed, banishing the three and their twisted ancients to the realm of the void, forevermore. This victory was Pyrrhic at best, their once great city in ruins, the pantheon divided, and their first attempt at a creation lost and corrupted by the very thing they tried to keep for themselves. It is not told what happened in the time between the war and the creation of the four divine races. However, many lawkeepers rumor that the seven mourned, and it was during this time that the gods found their true aspects. Thus the gods became known as Norlin, the goddess of fate, Resna, the goddess of hope, Shol, the god of truth, and the goddesses of love and creation, and other aspects, whose names failed to remain in my notes. As the seven emerged from the battle with these aspects in mind, they vowed to create a world infused with balanced essence, to fill it with races in which their values were dispersed throughout them evenly, with souls able to be touched by their creators, and to harness the raw flow of the essence through the realms. This valiant act of hope was what gave birth to the races that we know of today: the humans, dwarves, orcs, and elves. The gods stood back in pride at their creation. The life that was meant to be for the twisted ancients now perfected in these four races that would flourish on their new world, Vera. The damage was already done, however, for in the wake of the war the gods had learned emotions such as hate, anger, sadness, and the sins of pride, envy, greed, and lust, among others. For all the joy and tranquility these races had been threaded with in the god's image, their cores were tainted, which in time would reveal itself with famous characters such as King Atrax and his downfall. It was not until thousands of years later that the latest act of defiance against the Seven's decision occurred. From the depths of the void, the combined powers of the others and their army of ancients launched an event known as the Apocalypse across the surface of Vera, wiping out a great number of the many races of the world, threatening to end what the gods had created. This devastating attack forced the goddess of creation herself to intervene, and send more creatures she could to another world called Sanctus through these mighty divine gateways. And that's where we find ourselves. Millennia past, stories of the gods lost to myth and legend. Our once great civilizations fallen to ash, but it's not without hope. For once more has the goddess of creation opened the gateways home, so that we can reclaim what is ours. So I ask you, listener, will you reclaim our home? And will I, one day, deliver your story?